Hey there, friends and fellow makers. Welcome to my shop. I'm Bill from Tested and Punished Props Academy, and here are my favorite things from 2020. I've got a good selection here, some entertainment, some tools, and I'm really amped to talk about them, starting with, over on this side, a little relic I made from one of my favorite games from 2020, Half-Life Alyx. So this is the year that I totally dove into VR. I did have a PSVR, or I still have it anyway, and I enjoyed some of the games on there. I like Super Hot and the Astrobot games. I really love Beat Saber, played a lot of Beat Saber. But this year, we got a Quest, plugged it into our PC, so it's got a little more juice, and we were able to play some of the heavier hitting VR games, and Half-Life Alyx absolutely stole the show. It's finally a VR game that feels more than just a tech demo, more than just an experience. It was a full-fledged game. It was way longer than I thought it was going to be. I explored every nook and cranny. I really enjoyed that game. I really enjoyed being in that environment. They set up a lot of really great moments that you catch in VR that are just breathtaking. I super enjoyed it. And of course, I made something from the game. I built a grenade. The grenades are really useful and fun in the game, and of course I thought they looked like a tape measure, so I built a tape measure grenade. And that's just what I do. When I play a game so much and love it so much, I gotta make something from it, and I thought about doing something special. So I got a video over on the Punished Props Academy channel if you want to check that out. And of course, Half-Life Alyx is out for PC, and absolutely worth checking out if you have a VR rig for it. My next favorite thing is a feature of some software that I use a lot. I do most of my 3D modeling for 3D printing props using Fusion 360. There's a free version out that you can use. It does have some new limitations, but it's still really, really powerful software. And I use it to model most of the props that I end up 3D printing. The feature that is my favorite thing is their integration with McMaster-Carr's catalog. You can just insert anything, almost anything. I haven't checked the whole catalog, but you can insert many things from their catalog right in the interface of Fusion 360. I love that you can pick the thing you need based on a list of criteria and kind of zero in on the part that you want. For example, I recently built a replica prop, 3D printed, of Vash the Stampede's revolver from Trigun, one of my very favorite anime shows. The hardware on here, all the nuts and bolts, or screws and springs on this anyway, were all ordered from McMaster-Carr's catalog right in the interface in Fusion. What's amazing is that you can go through, pick the hardware you want, say you want a specific screw, go through the list, figure out exactly what you want, and then insert a 3D model to scale of that part into your 3D model. So you can match it up, make sure it's going to fit correctly in all the 3D modeled pieces you've already made. And then, like I said, right from the interface, you can just order the parts and end up with boxes and boxes of hardware at your home that you can use to assemble your parts and be confident that they're going to fit in those 3D printed parts because you checked in the 3D model before you bought the pieces. Super useful, really handy feature. This is the first time I've used it a bunch on a project, and it turned out awesome, and it's something I will definitely be using time and time again in the future. My next favorite thing is a book. One of my cosplay friends and buddies, Yaya Han, put out a book. It's Yaya Han's World of Cosplay. I've been digging my way through it here, and it's really fantastic. So Yaya is a friend and an inspiration. She's been doing the cosplay thing for a couple decades now, a bit longer than I have, and she's got quite a story. The first part of this book here, the part I've been chewing through, covers her upbringing and how she got into the scene. There's tons of really fantastic photos, obviously. And then later on in the book, it goes into more of her perspective on the cosplay scene. From someone who's seen it all, been a part of it since the very beginning, a couple decades ago. Her perspective is really fantastic, very unique, and the book is wonderful. And you can grab that, I imagine, over on her website and anywhere that they sell really rad books. This copy was sent to me from Yaya, so I appreciate it very much. And I will be digging through more of this soon and finishing it up. Another creator I look up to big time is my buddy Jimmy DiResta. He is a maker of all things and all mediums. Just ridiculous how much output that guy produces on his YouTube channel. He also sells really, really neat stuff. So for example, in the past, I've picked up one of his ice picks, which he is known for. Very cool looking tool here, gets used in my shop all the time, but that's not the tool I want to talk about. No, Jimmy produced, I want to be careful here not to hurt myself. He's producing these very large razor blades. So it's exactly like a normal razor blade that you would have for like a sheetrock knife, kind of knife I would use for cutting out foam, except that it is much, much bigger, which makes it way cooler. I have tested it. It does cut foam really well. I mean, it cuts anything really well. It is very sharp. And it is a bit of a novelty, but that's what makes it so cool. It's a big old piece of steel. It's about an 1/8 inch thick. It does everything a real knife blade would do, but it's really gigantic. So I keep this in my shop over there, and I can use it in a video whenever I want to get a laugh. Or, you know, if you just need a blade and this happens to be the only one around, well, it certainly does the trick. He also does a lot of printing with his printing press. So the blade came with this bit on newsprint. Now, I'm keeping this too. Of course, this is just as compelling as the actual thing because it was done on a printing press that was made in the 1800s. This is so cool. A lot of the stuff that he sells on his website comes with things like this. He gets a lot of use out of those printing presses. It's worth going over to his website and checking out what he has for sale. I'm not sure if any of these are available right now. They tend to sell out very quickly. Same thing with the ice picks, but he's got a bunch of other stuff on his website. Well worth checking out. So yeah, that's my Jimmy DiResta knife. And I'm gathering quite a bit of Jimmy DiResta collection over here. And I think it's awesome. Okay, my last favorite thing are these drill bits. Now, you might think, Bill, you probably already have a ton of drill bits. What's so special about those drill bits? Here's the thing. Actually, let me grab a normal set of bits. Okay, a normal set of drill bits has this many bits in it, right? From 1/16 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. This has the same range of drill bits, but it has many more steps in between. I think there's like 215 drill bits in this collection. So what that gives me is the opportunity when I'm drilling a hole, if I need it to be just a little bit bigger or just a little bit smaller, I have many, many more options. Whereas with a normal bit, if I want to go from 5/16 to 1/4 inch, I only have that one big jump. But in here, there's a whole like 10 bits in between there. It just gives me a lot more precision. And it's one of those things where, you know, I've been getting by with drill bits like this for my whole life, and it worked out okay. If I needed a specially sized bit, I would order just that one bit. But once I purchased this set, I found myself coming back to it time and time again, because now I just have that option. And up until then, I was making a lot of compromises and going, oh, it's okay if that hole's a little bit oversized, that's fine. Or, oh, this hole's a little tight, but I'll make it work. Now, I don't have to deal with that. I can just go through here and pick exactly the bit that I need. And it's turned out to be so useful. Now, is it worth $200 for a set like this? I don't know, you could argue one way or the other. I think it is, and it's been really fabulous. You can spend less or more on a set like this, so you can poke around, see what's available in your price range. But if you can pick up a set, the sooner the better. You're gonna thank yourself for the investment. Of course, you guys probably saw Adam made a tapping guide. I made one too. I used these bits. In fact, this is the first project I made with these bits. I used them to get exactly the diameter of hole I needed to fit a tap snugly, but not too tight. And I did try my normal bits, and I just didn't have the granularity I needed to knock this out. So I'm excited about drill bits. I hope you are too. This is my collection of some of my favorite things from 2020. And I hope you enjoy some of those, and check some of them out. The video games that I've been digging into, especially Half-Life Alyx, if you got a setup for VR, man, jump into that, because it is just unreal. Thanks so much for hanging out with me in my shop today. Hope you're all doing well and taking care of one another out there. That'll wrap it up. So we'll see you next time, gang. Take it easy.